Does she secretly hope you'll text again? Modern Stoic. Have you ever wondered if deep down she's waiting for your name to flash across her screen? Even though she may act indifferent or claim she's moved on, there's often a quiet tension, a subtle longing for that message from you. It's a silent hope, tucked away beneath the surface. As men, we often feel the pull to reach out, to send one more text, to make sure we're not forgotten. But the modern Stoic knows something that most don't. True strength lies in restraint. The decision to hold back, to be silent, isn't a sign of weakness. It's an assertion of self-respect. Silence, when practiced with intention, carries a presence that speaks louder than words. In this video, we'll delve into why stepping back and giving her the space to miss you might be far more powerful than any message you could send. Your absence can often say more than your presence ever could. Love is not about possession. Love is about appreciation. Osho. Number 1. The message she didn't reply to still echoes. You've probably sent a message that went unanswered, but here's the thing, that silence doesn't always mean closure. In many cases, it's curiosity, a lingering question in her mind. The message you sent might not have received a reply, but that doesn't mean it's forgotten. You see, when you speak from a place of calm truth, not desperation, your words carry weight, not because of how clever or long your message was, but because of the energy behind it, the energy that embodies your grounded self, unaffected by the need for validation. You must understand this. Silence isn't always rejection. Sometimes it's the space where your presence lingers. You didn't need a reply. You sent that message as an expression of who you are in that moment, rooted in Stoic principles. That's the blessing of Stoicism, the ability to speak truth without needing to hear it back. She might have read it late at night, might have gone over it a few times, might have even typed a reply only to delete it. You can't control her response, but you can control your own. That hesitation, that pause, that's where your presence still lives. Here's where it gets interesting. In this world, most people assume that when the conversation ends, it's done. But true impact, true resonance, doesn't live in the reply. It lives in the reflection. Think of it this way. The old Stoic didn't send a message to chase or to beg for something in return. No, the Stoic man speaks and then stands back. He lets his words land where they will, without expectation, because his peace and worth are not reliant on others. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not waste time worrying about what others say or think. Be content with the approval of your own conscience." This is the essence of the modern Stoic. It's about being at peace with your own actions, regardless of external responses. She might stay silent, acting like it doesn't matter, but your stillness in response becomes the loudest message you could ever send. Over time, your silence contrasts with her uncertainty, and that contrast becomes your power. Now, I want you to reflect on this. You didn't chase, you didn't beg, you simply expressed and let go. That's a modern Stoic in action, present, grounded and resilient. And here's a truth that's hard to ignore. The message you sent, even if unanswered, hasn't gone unnoticed. It might echo quietly in her mind, long after the moment has passed. In fact, often, the most powerful messages are the ones that remain unanswered. When you embody the blessing of Stoicism, you no longer need to chase the reply to feel complete. Your inner peace is independent of external validation. This is the power of living a life rooted in Stoic principles. You do not need to be heard to know your own worth. So while she may not have responded, that silence, it's far from empty. It's full of the message you sent, and even more so, the strength you've shown by not needing a response. The truth is, the greatest power lies in letting go and trusting that your actions speak louder than any words ever could. The modern Stoic knows this, the old Stoic knew this, and now you know it too. Before we move forward, I want to hear from you. Have you ever sent a message that went unanswered, yet somehow felt its echo? Did you feel a sense of peace in that silence? Drop your thoughts below, or, if you're keeping it simple, leave this in the comments. I no longer need the reply to feel complete. Your story might be just the reminder another man needs today. Number 2. Breadcrumbs and half open doors. A like. A story view. A random, "Hey, hope you're good." Sounds innocent enough, right? These aren't accidents. No, these are signals. The kind you need to pay attention to if you want to lead a life of clarity. And if you want to understand her mind, you need to understand how she operates. But don't mistake her breadcrumbs for an invitation. The modern Stoic sees these signals for exactly what they are, a test of your inner stillness, a test to see if she can rattle you, and if she can, she'll do it again. But here's the thing, you cannot be rattled. When she leaves that door half open, it's easy to think, maybe, just maybe, if I walk back in, things could pick up where they left off. And here's the problem, your mind starts to convince you that every breadcrumb is a sign. Hope creeps in, and suddenly you're asking yourself, does she miss me? But is that the real question? You see, the Stoic man doesn't just react, he observes. And in this moment, he asks, is this a genuine connection, or is this just control in disguise? Let me break it to you straight sometimes. She's not reaching out because she misses you. She's reaching out because she wants to see if you miss her. Sometimes she doesn't want to fully let go. She still wants to have a grip on your emotions, just enough to stir that curiosity, just enough to make you question everything. But that's where you need to pause and think. The Stoic man doesn't let curiosity cloud his judgment. He recognizes the game for what it is, a game of control. This is what breadcrumbs do. They feed just enough to stir you, to get you emotionally engaged without offering anything real. And before you know it, you've been emotionally starved for clarity. Your mind gets fogged, your focus drifts, and suddenly you're back in the loop, chasing a connection that isn't really there. Marcus Aurelius, the master of Stoicism, once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Let that sink in. If she's not being genuine, don't respond. If it's not true, if it doesn't align with the Stoic life you've worked so hard to build, don't waste a second on it. Imagine this scenario. She left your life, but now she's back in orbit. She's watching your stories, liking your photos, sending those vague messages that feel like they mean everything and nothing at all. It's easy to think, this must be a sign of progress. Maybe she's coming back. But you need to ask yourself, is it? Or is it just a trap to keep you emotionally available without any real commitment? This is where the Stoic lessons come into play. You don't respond with bitterness. You don't react in anger, frustration, or jealousy. Instead, you respond with presence. You keep building your life, focusing on your own growth and purpose. This is the calm detachment of a true Stoic man. You don't weaponize silence, but rather, you find strength in the stillness of your own journey. You stay in motion, always progressing, always evolving. This is what separates you from the man who keeps falling for the loop. The danger is in waiting. Don't be the man who waits by a door that may never fully open. Don't be the one chasing after breadcrumbs in a desperate attempt to feel seen, wanted, or needed. If she ever decides to open that door, truly open it, not just leave it cracked and teasing. You'll know. Real interest doesn't hide behind crumbs. It doesn't dance around with ambiguity. It walks through the door and says, I'm here. Until that moment comes, you must stay true to your path. Do not fall for the illusion of progress. Don't get caught up in emotional games that lead nowhere. Be the man who stands still while the world tries to pull him back. In the end, a life driven by Stoic principles is a life free from the chaos of uncertainty and emotional manipulation. The breadcrumbs? Ignore them. The half-open door? Don't chase it. Keep walking forward with the strength and clarity that only a true Stoic man can possess. Be the one who chooses his own path, not the one who is constantly pulled in different directions. Number 3. She misses the emotional safety net. In the game of relationships, emotional stability can be one of the most important and often overlooked elements. She misses the emotional safety net you used to provide. You were the one who responded, the one who reached out, the one who filled the silence. Now that you don't, a gap has formed, a gap where she once felt seen, anchored. But you must understand, as a Stoic man, you don't fill that gap, you allow her to feel it. Why? Because the absence is what teaches, the silence is what reveals. She's not just missing your words, she's missing the stability and safety you offered her, your consistency, your presence, the quiet strength that anchored her when the emotional tides grew too high. That good morning text, the simple check-ins when she pulled away, your patience that softened her rough edges. These weren't just gestures, they were anchors. And now, without them, she feels adrift. But this is not punishment. This is self-respect. You no longer offer emotional labor where it's not reciprocated. You're not cold, you're conscious. The Stoic principles teach us that attachment is not virtue. You understand the power of your presence. You don't give it away carelessly. True connection is not sustained through one-sided effort. Sometimes, the greatest act of respect for both her and yourself is giving her space. And space, my friend, speaks volumes. It lets her feel the full weight of her loss, not out of malice, but out of revelation. She never realized what she had until it was gone. Now, she feels the absence of the safety net she relied on. She feels the absence of your calm, your steadiness. Where you once stabilized the chaos, she's now left to swim in it alone. You, the Stoic man, do not chase her to remind her of what she's lost. You don't fill the gap, you don't explain. You let the silence speak, and in that silence, reality will do the work for you. She will notice. Trust me, she will. She will miss your calm, your presence, your emotional anchor, and she will learn the hard way what it feels like to navigate life without the net that once kept her grounded. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. In that silence, you show her the Stoic principle of self-control, strength, and respect. The absence speaks louder than any words could. If you understand the power of silence and the strength of self-respect, drop a comment right now. I am the man who lets silence speak. Like this video, subscribe for more unshakable wisdom, and remember, true power is knowing when to step back and let her feel the loss. Number 4. Curiosity grows in absence. When you stop showing up in her notifications, something begins to stir in her mind. Why isn't he texting? Why hasn't he reached out? That question is the spark, and it ignites emotional curiosity. This is the gift of absence, a blessing of Stoicism at work. A modern Stoic knows that when you're always available, you dilute your value. Attention becomes meaningless when it's constant. But when you pull back, when you embrace that stillness, it gives her room to wonder, to question, to lean in emotionally. This is not manipulation. It's not about playing games. It's about principle, about not overextending yourself and maintaining your own sense of balance. You've chosen to live by the quiet power of absence, and it speaks louder than any words you could send. Imagine the shift that happens when she used to scroll through her phone and see your name, expecting the usual messages, likes, and subtle gestures. It was comfortable, predictable. But now, there's nothing. Not because you're angry, not because you don't care, but because you've allowed the space to speak for itself. And in that silence, her mind starts to spin. What happened? Did he lose interest? Has he moved on? This is where curiosity begins to grow. The lack of answers stirs her imagination. It's human nature. When there's no clarity, we start to fill in the blanks. And this is the power of a modern, Stoic approach to relationships. You don't chase answers. You let them emerge naturally, through time and space. Epictetus famously said, "If someone does not value your presence, make them value your absence." That's exactly what happens when you embrace Stoicism. You let the absence do the talking, and it speaks volumes. This is the shift. Curiosity is a magnetic force. When she doesn't know exactly where you stand, she can't help but lean in, emotionally, mentally. Maybe she doesn't text you, but in her mind, she's already turning things over, replaying the interactions. This is the power of silence. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about creating enough space for the mind to wander, to be drawn back in. By not chasing answers, by allowing the questions to grow, you let the mystery of your presence do the work. The old Stoic wisdom teaches us that mystery has its own power, and when you're comfortable with that mystery, you stop fearing what the silence brings. In fact, silence often speaks the most honest, profound truths. So keep walking your path, stay composed, and allow the absence to be your message. That is the blessing of Stoicism in its purest form, when you don't need to say anything to communicate everything. Number 5. Your energy wasn't just texts. It wasn't the words. It wasn't the timing. It wasn't even the emojis or clever quips. No, it was how you made her feel. And now that you're not texting anymore, she can feel the weight of your absence. But not just in the lack of texts. She feels it in the silence, the space you've left behind, the energy that's no longer there. And that's something much deeper. A Stoic man understands this, how his presence, rooted in calm, clarity, and strength, speaks louder than any series of messages ever could. It's like this. Anyone can send a message. It's easy to hit send, but not everyone can offer peace through presence. When you were in her life, it wasn't just the quick replies or the random texts that mattered. It was the vibe you gave off. It was how your energy came through your words, steady, safe, grounded. You see, that's the heart of Stoicism. You didn't just communicate, you transmitted calm. In a world that thrives on noise, chaos, and constant distractions, you were an oasis of composure. Your energy wasn't attached to the need for constant validation or reassurance. It was about being grounded in your own sense of self, in your own principles. That's why your silence speaks louder than any text could ever. It's not a void, it's a mirror reflecting her loss, the calm she no longer has access to. This is what Stoicism teaches us. True strength doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to demand attention. It commands attention through the mere presence of a calm, stoic mind. The more you cultivate this inner peace, the more you realize that your silence isn't an absence of power. It's the presence of an even greater force. It's like when you walk into a room and no words are exchanged, yet people sense your composure. They feel your presence. That's the energy she misses. She notices the difference, the quiet strength you carry with you, the subtle yet undeniable weight of your presence. This doesn't mean that you should ignore her or play mind games. Far from it. It means you must understand the power of your own energy. When you're rooted in Stoic principles, you'll find that you no longer need to be constantly texting, constantly performing, constantly seeking validation. Your very presence becomes enough. And that's the kind of man that will leave an imprint on someone's life. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "A great mind becomes a great force." What does this mean for you? It means that your power doesn't diminish when you stop texting or when you stop engaging in constant back and forth. You've simply allowed your true strength, your inner calm, to rise to the surface. And this, more than any words, more than any emojis or witty comments, is what speaks volumes. You didn't lose your power when you stopped texting. You didn't lose your power. No, you revealed it. By stepping away, by letting the energy of calm replace the need for constant interaction, you've shown the strength that others miss when they are too caught up in the need for external validation. When your energy comes from a place of inner stability, not from attachment, not from the need to be needed, you create a presence that is rare. You become a man who doesn't need to prove anything, who doesn't require constant interaction to feel whole. That's the Stoic life. And that, my friend, is the kind of life that leaves a lasting impact. You've given her the chance to see that you are a man of integrity, someone who values inner peace and stability more than the trivial need for performance. And that is what will stick with her long after the texts stop. It's a lesson in Stoicism, a reminder of the power of a calm mind, a steady heart, and a life rooted in strength and clarity. In the end, when your energy is calm, strong, and centered in yourself, you'll find that your silence is far more powerful than the noise of endless texts. Let her feel that shift. Let her understand that this is not a game. This is you embodying the Stoic principles of peace over performance. And in that, you will find something far more lasting than any conversation could ever offer. So don't second-guess yourself. Don't rush back into the noise. Be grounded, be steady. Let your energy speak louder than words ever could. And let that silence be your message, loud, clear, and profound. Number 6. She feels the shift, but can't name it. When a man embraces the Stoic principles, something shifts within him, and she feels it. There's a subtle, undeniable change that stirs her, but she can't name it. The dynamic between you two is different now, not because you're trying to be, but because you've evolved. No longer are you chasing her approval or explaining your every move. Your energy has shifted. It's calm, contained, and deeply rooted in self-respect. Stoicism isn't loud. It's felt. As Marcus Aurelius said, the tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do. This is the essence of being a modern Stoic. You've chosen stillness over emotional reactions, space over constant pursuit, and dignity over desperation. The result? A powerful, quiet presence that makes her wonder, what changed? She's used to the man who responded eagerly, who rushed to show he cared. Now the silence is different. It's not cold, but composed. It's not an absence, it's a presence. You've pulled back without bitterness or resentment, and that's what unsettles her. It's not a game. It's a demonstration of self-mastery. You're no longer emotionally handing her the remote control to your peace. You've taken it back. This shift is your strength, not a punishment or an attempt to control her, but a deep act of honouring yourself. She might try to figure it out, but she can't quite place it. The more she thinks about it, the more she realises that the man she once knew has transformed into someone far more powerful, someone she doesn't fully understand, but can't stop thinking about. Marcus Aurelius taught us that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In other words, stop reacting. Instead, become the man who chooses peace, who chooses purpose, who embodies Stoicism without needing approval. This is the quiet power that commands respect and piques curiosity. As a modern Stoic, you live not for the external world's validation, but for the inner strength and peace that emanate from your very being. Keep moving forward with purpose. The more you become rooted in yourself, the more you'll notice how others begin to notice, not because you seek attention, but because your Stoic presence demands it. If you felt that shift in your own life, it's time to own it. Stop chasing, stop explaining, and start embracing your inner strength. A modern Stoic doesn't need approval or understanding. He moves with purpose, grounded in self-respect. Now, comment below with, I am the man who doesn't need to chase. Let's keep this conversation going. Like, share, and subscribe for more powerful insights. Number 7. She's watching without engaging. She's scrolling through your old messages, checking your stories, yet remaining silent. A man who embraces Stoic principles understands that this behaviour speaks volumes. Curiosity often lurks behind the silence of a still screen. Just because she's not reaching out doesn't mean she's indifferent. In fact, silence, absence, and stillness often speak more clearly than words ever could. The Stoic man doesn't waste time overanalyzing these signs. He doesn't fixate on who viewed what or when. He doesn't chase validation or seek constant engagement. His focus is on something far more powerful, remaining centered and grounded. While she lingers in the digital shadows, revisiting the past, he lives in the present. You must understand this. The version of you she knew, the one who tried, who showed up first, who explained, reassured, and constantly sought attention, is no longer the man she sees. Now, you've gone quiet. Now, you no longer need to dance for her approval or send countless messages. This contrast speaks volumes. It's the absence of effort, the quiet strength, the undeniable presence of a man who has nothing to prove. You're no longer seeking validation. This absence, this newfound sense of peace, is louder than any message you could send. Let her watch. Let her scroll through old messages and stories. Let her sit in her silence as you stand firm in your own presence. You see, the man who no longer needs attention becomes the one who cannot be ignored. The Stoic man doesn't need to fill the silence with noise, he lets it speak for him. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, understood this well when he said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In modern life, that means embracing the obstacles, the silence, and the stillness. You don't need to chase after her attention. Your absence, your calm, your focus on yourself will make her question why you don't need her validation anymore. Why does he seem so calm? Why hasn't he reached out? These questions will reverberate in her mind more powerfully than any words you could say. This is the power of the Stoic man. You have mastered the art of detachment, the art of living for yourself. You're no longer someone who needs to chase after fleeting moments of connection. Instead, you are someone who understands that true power lies in being present with yourself. Every moment you spend rooted in your own presence is a victory. You've cultivated the inner peace to remain unshaken by external distractions. In doing so, you become a man of substance, a man whose presence commands respect without uttering a word. This is the essence of Stoic living. You must remain unmovable, unshakable, focused on the present and the pursuit of your own growth. Your power lies in your stillness, in your silence, in your refusal to seek external validation. The more you embrace this, the more you embody the Stoic principles of Marcus Aurelius, the more you will captivate those around you without even trying. You've mastered the art of being. Let her watch. Let her wonder. Let her silently observe the man who has no need for her attention because he's too busy living his own life. This is your victory. Own it. Number 8. Your calm now disorients her. Before, she could predict you. She knew your pattern. Whether it took hours or days, you'd always reach out. You'd bridge the silence, send a message, check in. There was always something, subtle signs, small gestures that assured her you were still orbiting her world. But now? Nothing. No message, no sign, no attempt to rekindle that emotional connection. And this isn't just silence. It's a shift in energy that's as powerful as it is subtle. She doesn't know where she stands with you anymore. And that uncertainty, well, it disorients her. What once gave her emotional control, the steady expectation that you'd always come back and fill the gap, is now gone. You've broken the pattern. The certainty that she could rely on you to fill in the silence, to create that emotional tether, has vanished. And that change, it's not something she can easily wrap her mind around. She's used to you being predictable, to you being driven by emotion and impulse. Now, you're a mystery, unreadable, untraceable, calm in a way that she's never experienced before. This isn't some game you're playing. This is evolution. You've embraced the Stoic life, and now you're living out its lessons. Stoicism teaches that true power lies not in controlling others, but in governing oneself. The quiet calm you now carry is not a temporary pause before you chase after her again. Number this calm is your new baseline, a permanent shift in your energy. You've anchored yourself in a way that's unshakable. You no longer react impulsively. You respond with composed detachment, a deliberate choice to remain steady no matter what external forces try to disrupt your peace. And that changes everything. It shifts the dynamic in ways that are impossible to ignore. This transformation isn't about playing games. It's about becoming. The Stoic man doesn't need to chase attention or constantly seek validation from the outside world. You've stopped needing responses to feel validated, stopped waiting for those little crumbs of attention to make you feel whole. The quiet confidence you now exude is magnetic. You stand rooted in your own sense of worth. And even if she can't name it, she feels it. She senses the shift, and it confuses her, unsettles her. Why? Because she's used to having emotional control over the situation, over you. She's used to the man who would react, who would send a message, who would reappear when she needed him. But now, the man before her is different, calm, centered, not shaken by her absence, not moved by her presence. This is the essence of Stoicism. The Stoic doesn't seek chaos to prove his strength. He becomes the stillness itself. True power lies in emotional self-control. When a man stops reacting to external circumstances and instead governs his own emotions, he stops being at the mercy of the world around him. He becomes unshakable. And that unshakable calm is the very thing that disorients her. It's not anger. It's not revenge. It's transformation. Nothing unsettles someone more than realizing the person they once had emotional influence over no longer flinches at their absence. When you stop reacting and start living with stoic calm, you leave behind the person they thought they knew. And that, my friend, is power. Don't chase. Don't seek approval. Live your life rooted in the stoic principles of self-governance. Be the stillness that disrupts the noise. Remember, Stoicism teaches us to control ourselves, not others. By living this truth, you will notice a profound shift in your relationships. Your presence will become something that commands respect and leaves others, especially her, wondering about the version of you they can no longer manipulate. This is not about revenge. It's about your evolution. Embrace the stoic life and let that calm become your new normal. The man you were is gone. The man you've become is far more powerful. Number 9. When she talks about you casually, it's not casual. When she mentions you, casually or not, understand this. It's never really casual. We don't talk anymore. He used to check in. On the surface, it may seem like harmless conversation, but if she's saying your name, even lightly, there's still meaning behind it. The truth that most men overlook is this. Women rarely bring up someone they've truly moved on from. If she's mentioning you to a friend in a story, even jokingly, it's because you're still echoing in her thoughts. Her words might sound easy, even indifferent, but beneath them is a hidden weight. She's testing the waters. She wants to see how others react when your name is spoken. Sometimes she's even testing herself. This is when a stoic man rises above. He doesn't rush in just because his name came up. He doesn't chase the hidden meanings buried in her words. He watches, observes calmly, because he knows his silence, his emotional detachment, his growth. They're all louder than any message he could send. Remember, Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about mastering your responses. In moments like this, where your ego might urge you to act, to reach out because you've been mentioned, the grounded man resists. He knows better. He remembers, not everything that returns to your orbit deserves your attention. Think about it. Imagine her talking with a friend saying, "Yeah, he was always calm, never begged, just kind of faded." She may speak with apparent indifference, but what she's really doing is contrasting you with what came after. The men who followed you, are they the same? Do they bring peace, presence, or just chaos? Often, the ones who followed don't come close to the calm, grounded presence you provided. This is the key. When she talks about you, it's not a sign for you to react. It's a sign that your presence is still being felt. The stoic man understands this truth. He doesn't need to be loud to be remembered. He doesn't need to chase attention or validation. He lives in a way that, even in absence, leaves an undeniable mark. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. And this is exactly what the modern Stoic does. He doesn't react to the subtle mentions or casual words. He keeps moving forward, living his truth, and lets her words carry the weight they were meant to, because the Stoic knows that true power is in living with purpose, not in chasing after fleeting moments. Keep your calm. Let her talk. You just keep living. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of the game. Most men get stuck in the cycle of reacting to every little thing, but not you. You understand the power of silence, detachment, and stoic strength. Now, it's your turn to take the next step. Comment below with, "I am the man who leaves a mark without making noise." Let's keep this momentum going. Like, share, and subscribe, for more wisdom that empowers you to live with purpose and mastery. Number 10. She's waiting but won't admit it. Pride holds her back. Ego seals her lips. She won't text first. Don't mistake her silence for indifference. This pause, this absence of, "Hey, how have you been?" Zrenia, it's not forgetfulness. It's a battlefield. An emotional war plays out in the quiet moments between you. She replays the conversations, wondering if you've moved on, if you've forgotten her. She checks your profile but never interacts. Every time she almost reaches out, fear stops her. Fear of rejection, fear of vulnerability, fear that you might not care anymore. And here's the kicker. Her silence doesn't mean she's lost interest. It might be a test, but not of your love. It's a test of your steadiness, your groundedness. She's asking herself, can you stay composed when the affection isn't being returned? Can you remain grounded when the attention is withheld? This is where the blessing of Stoicism becomes your greatest strength. A modern Stoic doesn't chase fleeting emotions. He doesn't lower his values for a momentary rush. The Stoic man knows better. He understands that what's meant for him will never require force. It's natural. It flows. You've already shown up in the past. You've made your presence known. Now your calm is doing the talking, louder than any "what's up" ever could. Her silence, it's not her power, it's her hesitation. Part of her is hoping you'll break first. She's waiting, but she won't admit it. Now, let me tell you where your strength lies. You don't break, not because you're playing games or trying to control her, but because you've stepped into a different kind of power, the kind that doesn't need to shout, the kind that doesn't beg for love. It attracts them. This is the old Stoic wisdom that never fails. A Stoic man understands this. What's real will always return, and what doesn't was never solid enough to begin with. You can't rush what's meant for you. Let her wrestle with the silence she's created. Let her wonder. Meanwhile, you keep living, building, and remaining unmoved, because that calm you once showed her, that is exactly what she's hoping for again. So stay grounded. Stay true to your principles. You must remember this. When you embody the modern Stoic mindset, you know that patience is power, and true strength doesn't need validation. Trust in the process. Your silence isn't absence. It's a declaration of your worth. Let her wait. You keep living. The universe has a way of aligning things when you stand firm in who you are. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you found some value in this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, share it with anyone who might benefit, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights like these. And hey, if you have any feedback or thoughts about what we discussed today, I'd love to hear from you. Drop your comments below. Let's get the conversation going. Remember, being mindful of how we communicate can make all the difference. Stay grounded, stay true to yourself, and keep pushing forward. See you in the next one.